Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer board game review. And today's game up on the tabletop is Corporate Breakfast. This is by Tastefully Done Games. It's a 3 to 8 player game, takes roughly about 20 minutes to play, and is for ages 10 and up. And in the game, Corporate Breakfast, you are playing as an employee of the Corporate Breakfast Corporation, in which you're going to be naming breakfast cereals. This game is a card game all about gathering a kind of cards that each have their own unique names or words that you can utilize to create a breakfast cereal. But not to be undone, you can also change the words slightly by adding suffixes. The ability to add S's and Y's and INGs to the end of words can make these words come into a sentence that is much more breakfasty. Additionally, during rounds, you'll be drawing cards and discarding cards. You can take cards from the discard pile or one of the suffixes here, or if you're feeling inspirational, you can use your one-time usability every round to give yourself any card that you need. Create your breakfast cereal name, state your pitch as to why it's the best breakfast cereal of the bunch, and then have yourself a vote utilizing the backside of the inspiration card. We'll talk about the full setup for the game, how to play, even though I've covered most of it already, and then of course, my review. Let's get into it. To set up Corporate Breakfast, the first thing you do is you take the main deck, which is going to have the orange back, and you shuffle all the cards. From there, you're going to then take the top card and place it to create a face-up discard pile on the left-hand side. There's also going to be a blue back deck. These are going to be separately set aside in little piles, face up with each of the suffixes. There's an IED, ING, IERS, IFUL, IE and S, able, Y, and ULA. And there's, I think, 3 of each of these that you can go ahead and deign to add to your breakfast cereal name if you gather those cards. Each player is also going to get an inspiration card. This is going to double for a vote card as well. Go ahead and just give that to a singular player, and then have the starting player start with this card here. This is the voting side where you're going to be able to take turns up until the early pitch is active, in which case somebody will be able to flip it and or activate it by starting the pitch for the game. Once everybody's got their 7 cards in hand, one of these cards and all these cards are revealed on the table, you're ready to begin and have a good corporate breakfast meeting. Okay, so playing the game. Well, as you've guessed it, this is a judging game similar to Cards Against Humanity and Cheer Up and Cult Following, a lot of those type of games, but this one's all about naming, creating breakfast cereals. Basically, you're going to have a start side with the first player, and it will start at number 1 facing that player. And as the turns go on, you will rotate it to go from 1 to 2 to 3, thusly flipping it to 4, then 5, and finally 6, in which case the pitch is going to take place. So let's go over how this works. You all have 7 cards in hand, and the first player who has the one side starting side card in front of them is going to start the game off. They are going to select one card from the card pool here. It can be a suffix, it can be one from the discard, or it can be from the top of the deck here. You can't dig through anything though, it's just the top card. If you want, you can go ahead and look at the cards in your hand and determine what you think will be best. So I can be like, okay, I want this suffix here, the IES, and then you can discard a card from your hand. I don't want the card name aunt. From there, after you've discarded, you'll pass, and the next player will get to take their turn, and they can then draw a card from anywhere, add it to their hand, and kind of organize their hand to create a customized breakfast cereal or something, the start of one. And then after everybody's done that, it'll come back to you. Whenever it comes back to the player, you specifically, or whoever has this card, they will rotate this start card, and they will turn it to the next section from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so on and so forth. In which case, you will once again begin. You will draw a card from the deck, or from one of these areas, and then you will discard. I don't want the card nugget. And now I have finished my turn. And so when it comes back to me, I will rotate this again. Eventually when it hits 3, you can then flip it over to the yellow side. The yellow side is unique, in which case, at any point during a player's turn, instead of drawing a card and discarding a card, they can activate the pitch. Which means that everybody's turn is now done, and you have to use what is in your hand to create a breakfast cereal name. So all players are then going to form a breakfast cereal name. Cinnamon, wheat, Crunchies. And I can add the IES, right? So this is my breakfast cereal, Cinnamon Wheat Crunchies. And everybody else is then going to go ahead and make the same type of, make a name of a cereal they might want to pitch. It doesn't have to be a good cereal. It can be a terribly sounding cereal. This is a judging game. It's all about making your opponents laugh or getting them to vote for you, and that's all that matters in the end. Once somebody has their cereal name out, then everybody is going to pitch. They have 1 minute apiece, set a timer in some way, or use your phone to pitch out your cereal name. Explain why Cinnamon Wheat Crunchies is the best cereal of the bunch, what it might have in it, what it might taste like, really whatever you want. It's kind of like Snake Oil, that old card game where you're trying to sell somebody something they may or may not want. Same aspect. Then you're going to use your inspiration card as a vote card and pass it to the player who you believe has the best cereal name and you cannot vote for yourself. If you have the most votes at the end of the round, you are the winner. You'll pass this on to the next player and you'll keep playing for a number of rounds until somebody has, I believe there's a rule for it, but really it's best however that you want. Maybe the first person to get 2 or 3 or 4 of the wins is the winner of the game. But really that's the basic idea of the game. You'll draw back up to 7, or in my case, what I like to do is discard all the cards you have and then drop to a new set of 7 cards and begin making a new breakfast cereal at the Corporate Breakfast Corporation. That's basically the idea of the game. There's a few caveats here, which I'll talk about, and then of course we'll just go straight into my review. All right, some corporate breakfast variations and some unique little things I didn't talk about. Firstly, the inspiration card. I mentioned that you can once per game use this at the beginning. Basically how this works is instead of drawing a card, the top card of a deck, face up or face down, what you can do is you can turn this over and then you can search through any pile of cards and choose one card to add that to their hand, and that includes the deck. You can just simply go through it and find that perfect card that you need for your breakfast cereal. It's a way in which you can make sure that your breakfast cereal makes sense or add a little bit of a funny twist to it. It's really up to you how you utilize this, but make sure that you use it before somebody decides to start the pitch. The other little caveat here is that when the early pitch is active, this is important to remember, it's just me reminding you again, when this yellow card is flipped, the pitch can happen by anybody and stop the round. So be prepared to have your breakfast cereal as ready as you can be before this card flips over. It cannot activate until after at least 3 rounds have passed in the game. There are a few variations which you can look on the back of this rulebook here. One of them is the suffix card pileup, where you'll shuffle all the suffix cards up, just like this deck here, flip it over into a deck and discard 1, and now you can draw from either discard pile or the top of either deck to start creating your cereal, and discard suffixes in the suffix pile and discard the word cards into the word card pile. The other one is called the mullet, where you shuffle up everything together into one deck before dealing and use only this deck in a single discard pile. It's kind of like a lazy setup. And then the final one is that you can choose to not use turn timers if you want when pitching. I think for the first game you play of Corporate Breakfast, you probably shouldn't have a timer. Just let players play and talk for as long as they want. Get them kind of accustomed to the game. Well, okay, there you go. As you can see, this is a very light game. It's a very simple game. It's very, very straightforward. If you've played a judging game similar to Apples to Apples, Cards Against Humanity, Cheer Up, I've named at least 6 of them throughout this video. This is nothing super new, nothing super like out of the box. What this game does, and it does it well, is it feels kind of like Snake Oil and Cheer Up. You'll be taking words from decks, creating a unique breakfast cereal name with the words and suffixes, and then pitching the cereal. This is a funny, humorous game in which you're going to be creating funny sounding breakfast names. Maybe you want to go the serious route, you can do that as well. And it's really just up to you and what your play group is all about. If you want to play this as a party drinking game, there's no problem with that. This can also be played with friends, family members, little kids. It's a good word game that kind of gets people creating and manufacturing different types of cereal names, good for little kids, so I like that as well. This is one of those games where it can kind of be a little dirty if you want to kind of twist things around, but typically speaking, this is a family-friendly breakfast-making game, judging style game. It's similar to the audience I would imagine for Apples to Apples. I'm not going to lie to you, when I first saw this game, I wasn't sure how I was going to like it, because there are some judging games that I'm just like, whatever, like, it's kind of just more of the same. But with this one here, I made the first cereal name, and I'm not going to say what it was, but I couldn't breathe for like 30 seconds. I couldn't even give the pitch to my cereal name. I was laughing so hard. So once I finished not speaking for 30 seconds while creating my breakfast cereal name, I had to determine that I couldn't say this was not a good game. Like, it's funny. It's very funny. It's very creative, but it's nothing super crazy or something I haven't seen before. This is a game that I will be ditching a few of my other judging games for and adding this just because it's a small box. It fits everything I need for what this game is, and it's all about creating breakfast cereals. I can play this with literally just anybody, and anybody can have a good time playing it, and it's a very diversified kind of group that you can have to enjoy corporate breakfast. It is what it is. Create breakfast cereal names, pitch the cereal, and win the vote. And that's pretty much all it is. Now, so innovation, that's what it is. But the comical aspect of this game, the creative, unique ways you can use the suffixes with the words and the combination of words involved in this deck here makes the game a lot of fun. Very, very, very enjoyable. Obviously, more players is better. I strongly urge you to play with at least 4 players, if not more. And though the box says up to 8, honestly, you could just have less cards and play more players, or if you want, you can just buy an extra copy of the game if you're having a large party, and now you can have up to 16 players. The idea of shuffling the suffixes and doing that, I've also played. Personally, I like it this way better. It's a little more creative, but both ways work. The only one I don't like as much is the mashup, where it's just all cards all in one singular deck and you draw them and try and make something work. I guess it's a little more creative. It's probably good for little kids if you want to kind of teach them a better sentencing structure ideas, to have it like very, very out there and open, and then slowly kind of close the game off to make it a little more complicated for them. But for a party game, for what's here, like, I don't think you need to do that. I don't think I would do that either. I love the creativity of this game. I like the idea of being able to use inspiration. I think for kids, if you're playing with kids and adults, the adults don't get it, but the kids do. You can give yourself little handicaps in that way. But it is an enjoyable game. If you're looking for a judging style party game, something good for the family, good for kids, then Corporate Breakfast is an easy pickup. This game is exactly what you're expecting it to be based on what I've said to you. So is it fun? First and foremost, yes, it's very fun. You will enjoy this game if this is the type of thing that you're looking for. However, if you're not a big fan of judging games, if you don't like games that are making you kind of create things and pitch something to somebody else, if you have a problem with trying to explain why you should be the winner of something, then this is a game you probably wouldn't want to play. But yes, for those of you guys who like these type of games, this is an easy, solid pickup. Thank you guys for watching the Unfiltered Gamer board game review for the game Corporate Breakfast by Tastefully Done Games. If you're interested in picking this up, there is a link down below. The game is currently available on Kickstarter, and you can pick yourself up a nice corporate breakfast yourself. And if you'd also like, you can hit that like button, the subscribe button, all that good stuff down below in the comments section. You'll see all the links and whatnot. And we'll probably even do a live stream, or at least a playthrough video of this at some point, just to give you guys a little idea. My computer did explode though, so I've been in the means of fixing it. So hopefully that gets resolved shortly. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I look forward to joining you at the next corporate breakfast meeting for corporate breakfast cereal making next time.